Hey loves, welcome back to my kitchen. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Jasmine Summerford. I do lifestyle, home decor, and beauty related videos. I also do a lot of shopping hauls, Disney content, and cooking recipes. If that is something you're interested in, then click that red subscribe button below. I would love to have you guys. So for today is what? Today is Tuesday. So for today's Tuesday dinner recipe, I thought we would do a classic recipe. I am going to be doing a boneless beef ribeye steak. I'm also going to be doing a roasted butternut squash. If you guys have not tried or seen my butternut soup recipe, definitely go to the recipes tab on my channel and click it. That is so yummy, you guys. I love the butternut squash soup recipe. So I was actually debating on if I wanted to do the butternut squash, like use it like this, because I actually did want to make a soup this week. But we're gonna do something a little bit different, and we are gonna try roasting it, seasoning it up, throwing it in the oven, getting it nice and crispy, serving it with some steak and a salad. Very simple, very quick, and very easy. So let's get to it. The number one tip I have to give you guys when you're cooking a steak, I actually learned this from Chef Gordon Ramsay because I watch a ton of his YouTube videos and a ton of his stuff to learn cooking recipes. For those of you who don't know, I am a vegetarian, so it's very, I don't know what meat tastes like. I've never had meat and I basically never will. So for me to learn, I have to go off of chefs and people that I know what they're doing. So one of the main concerns that Chef Ramsay says with steak is that people like to take the steak straight from out the fridge and pop it on the pan. And what happens with that is, since the steak is cold, it makes it very tasteless. It doesn't contain all the seasonings and everything the way it probably should. Also, a good steak, I learned from Chef Ramsay, only needs a few seasoning things. It needs salt, it needs pepper, rosemary, thyme, and garlic. So I like to use fresh rosemary and thyme depending on if I have it on hand. We'll see what I have in my fridge. And I like to use fresh garlic cloves. So that is kind of what I like. But the key to cooking a nice steak is to make sure you don't take it from the fridge and put it right onto a hot pan. You have to let the meat sit and kind of get to room temperature before you can actually throw it onto the hot pan, and that will be the most effective in maintaining your flavors. So definitely take your meat out, defrost it if you need to, leave it out as long as you possibly could till it's the closest temperature to room temperature as possible. Now, with the butternut squash, you can get them pre-cut, pre-washed like this if you're feeling lazy. I'm always feeling lazy, so here you go. Or you can get the large butternut squash. If you do get the butternut squash like that, you need to remove all the skin and basically chop it up into cubes like that. Wash it and rinse it and chop it into cubes and then toss it on your pan. We're gonna season the butternut squash with some of my favorite seasonings: salt, pepper, garlic, onion, paprika. You want it to be flavorful. We're gonna chop up a shallot. A shallot is like a smaller onion that is nice and sweet. It's sweeter than a yellow onion or a white onion or a red onion. It's more sweet. We're gonna chop up some shallots. We're gonna get some shallots in there. We're gonna take some fresh garlic. We're gonna throw that in there. And we're gonna roast it at 400 degrees for about 40 minutes. So we're starting off with our sweet butternut squash. And basically what we're gonna do is add some shallots. I used 2 shallots, you guys. I already pre-cut everything so you're not here forever. And I do like to keep them kind of big. But it's totally up to you how big you want to cut yours. I just like to taste them. So I kind of keep them kind of big, and I put them throughout my butternut squash. And for my garlic, I used about 3 cloves. I just cut them in halves. And what I'm gonna do is keep them like that. I'm not gonna chop them up really fine or mince them up, because what tends to happen with butternut squash is it takes on the flavor of garlic really quickly. I find when you leave the cloves large, it just gives a nice aroma of garlic, as opposed to mashing them kind of, I don't know, it just overpowers it. I even told you that in my butternut squash soup recipe, not to really roast your butternut squash with whole garlic, with minced garlic, because it most definitely will kind of give it like a bitter, more garlicky taste, as opposed to more sweet. Not that it would be terrible, but we're eating butternut squash soups. Usually you're craving something sweet, not garlicky. So just a little tip, if you leave them big like these, it will definitely just give the garlic aroma, as opposed to just tasting like straight garlic. So I just halved these and I have them here. Next, I'm going to take my olive oil, my extra virgin olive oil I have here, and douse it like so. Drizzle some over my pieces of butternut squash. Now it's time for seasoning. I'm going to season with some sea salt and some black peppercorns. But I'm going to do this off camera because, as you can see, it's kind of like a twisty cap and it's kind of hard for me to do this and record. So give me 1 second. Okay, so we added the salt and pepper. Now I'm going to add some garlic powder, but very little. Just drizzle over the top like that. That's enough. And some paprika. Like so. And I'm gonna take my little spatula. Oh my gosh, you guys like this? I got it from Home Goods. It's so cute. Perfect for this time of year. And I'm gonna take this and kind of mix up all the seasonings and make sure it's all mixed. If I feel like I need to add anything by looking at it, I will. I think I need a little bit more paprika just so that it has a little bit more color in there. And that is it, you guys. So basically these are ready to go into the oven at this point. I'm gonna put them in for about 40 minutes at 375 degrees. If I need to bump it up to 400, I might, just to crisp them. But I'm basically gonna start them slowly in the oven because I don't want them to cook too quickly either. I kind of want them to marinate in what I have seasoned them in. And the reason we decided to do the side first is because, like I said, I'm waiting for my meat to kind of get to room temperature. It's still cold. I took it out a little bit later in the morning, but it should be almost ready. And then I will hop back on here and show you how we prep that. So now I'm ready to prep my steak up. The meat is about room temperature, so I'm just adding some sea salt. You want to make sure to generously season your steak. I'm going to also season both sides. That's why I'm flipping it over here. And I just want to make sure that I cover and pat in the salt so that it is all covered. Next, I'm taking my black peppercorns and I'm basically going to do the same. I'm going to season the front of the steak, pat it in, and then also flip the steak over and pat it on the other side in. You kind of want to do the same thing to both sides. That way the entire piece of steak is nice and seasoned. Next, you want to take your fresh garlic cloves, and what I like to do is take my garlic clove and just rub it all over the steak, like just to give it that aroma of garlic. I also fry it up in there in the pan while it's with the steak and rub it on there as well. I'm also adding some thyme. I didn't have fresh thyme or fresh rosemary, but if you have it, definitely try it. And this is how it looks. I'm just letting it kind of sit in this rub for now until I'm ready to toss it on a hot frying pan. So after about 10 minutes, I flipped my ribeye steak. It was a thick one, so I basically fried it for 10 minutes on one side, 10 minutes on the next side. And now I'm adding some butter. You want to use that as a marinade throughout the cook. You want to use it and scoop it onto the meat. But after about 20 minutes, this should be a medium rare for you, and it should be really juicy and moist. So this is the finished dish, you guys. The butternut squash roasted like that was so yummy. You guys should definitely try it. I also served it with a bed of arugula and some balsamic vinaigrette dressing. Super good. Definitely like this video if you want more recipe videos like this. Also, do not forget to subscribe to my channel. That way you can be notified every time there are brand new videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.